Well, hello everybody and welcome to day 2 of Eating Healthy for Kids. This video is going to be just as impactful for you as it's going to be for your kids. And if you apply the things that I'm going to tell you here, it's going to make a drastic difference in the way that you shop, the way that you look at your overall health. For the sake of this video though, I'm going to stay away from talking about fat, proteins, carbohydrates. These are all the macronutrients that we all need, regardless of what you might think, what you've been taught by some guru out there. We all need fats, carbohydrates, and proteins, and we can talk about that later. But for today, I want to talk more about what I believe is more important than any of those things is reading the actual ingredients on the box. If your food has a box, I prefer you to buy things that don't have a box. Stay on the outside of the supermarket, things where you see fruits and vegetables, meats, cheeses, all the things that are fresh are on the outside. Typically, the things that are on the inside tend to be a little bit more processed. But things that have nutrient labels, I want you to get used to reading ingredients rather than looking at advertising on the box. These companies do not want you to look at ingredients. That's why they put things like fat-free and gluten-free and all these different phrases that you think, organic, that you think are going to be good things. They spend millions of dollars in advertising. They spend millions of dollars in advertising, and they want to look at psychology and what you're going to be looking at, and they know that you're going to be looking at those things, so they'll hide all the things in the actual ingredient list. Now, here's the things I want you to look out for. When you're reading the ingredient list, I want you to look for added sugars. Obviously, there are things like fruit that has sugar in it. Honey is not, when we want to give our kids something sweet, we'll give them something with honey in it or stevia. But we don't want things with a whole lot of added sugars. Now, what they do, like I said, they spend a lot of money on marketing, so they'll take things that are similar to sugar, have the same effect as sugar, and they'll rename them. The things that I want you to look out for are things like sucrose. High fructose corn syrup, that's a bad one. Don't give your kids anything with high fructose corn syrup in it. Sucralose, another one, very similar to aspartame structurally. Dextrose, all these things, I'd rather give my kid regular table sugar, quite frankly, than all those other things. The second thing, the biggest thing I want you to look out for, in addition to those added sugars, are things like food dyes. Now, these things have been linked to hyperactivity. They've been linked to things like cancer. I want you to make sure that anything you're giving to your kids do not have the following in it. Red dye 40, yellow dye 5, blue 1. I want you to look at all the nutrient labels, and if they have any of those things, that's something you need to stay away from. And now that I said that, if you pay attention to it, if you give your kids something like that, you're going to notice a change in their behavior almost immediately after giving them something with those ingredients in it. Preservatives, things like sodium nitrate, sodium benzoate. It's very hard for your child to digest these things. They tend to stay in their system for longer. They change their behavior. Again, they've been linked to things like cancer, MSG, same kind of thing. Now, like I said, stay away from just buying into things that read low fat, made with real fruit. They may say made with real fruit, and then you look at the ingredients and it may say a totally different story. So I want you to pay attention to these things. In general, ingredient labels that are smaller rather than larger are going to be bigger. You don't want to have a whole lot of ingredients in something that you're giving your kids. If you give your kids the right things for their body, it's not going to have a whole lot of ingredients. Things that you can't even read, that's a red flag. Okay, I would encourage you, when you feed your kids something, look at the label. If you don't know something, if you don't know what something is, Google it. Google it. Know what your kid is putting into their body. It's huge. It's very, very important, not just for your kids, but for you to get in the habit of reading ingredients labels rather than just looking at nutrition facts or how many carbohydrates or how many fats. It's going to change the way that your body digests these foods. It's going to change the actual chemistry of your gut. We've spent so much time thinking, how many fats does this have or how many carbs does this have, when really we're putting things in our stomach, we're putting things in our gut that's ruining our intestinal bacteria. It's ruining our body's ability to process and digest food. So when we have something go wrong, we think it's the carbohydrate. Really, it's your body's inability to process this food. So stay tuned for tomorrow's video. We're going to talk about something a little bit lighter. We're going to talk about healthy snacks. I hope you guys have a beautiful rest of your day. I look forward to seeing you guys tomorrow, and you guys stay safe.